or you've been at it for a while. Ask the Nanny's digital cookbook has a little something for everyone. Be sure to pick up your copy today. Dating? Just got married? Or you've been together for a while? The Sweetheart Spot by This Jam Good is perfect for any couple. There's a little something different in each box, so no two are the same. Place your order today. And happy Valentine's Day from This Jam Good. Play isn't just about playing. There's a lot of hard work going on. It's about balance and cooperation, counting and measuring, critical thinking, problem solving, hand-eye coordination, precision, sharing and socialization, music, sequence, patterns, spatial relations, cause and effect, teamwork, imagination, and creativity. Never underestimate the power of play. The Smart Box by Nanny Kim on the Go. Have everyone saying, "That's one smart kid."
Work, gotta work for it. Work, work, let me hear you say. Work, work, gotta work for it. Work, work, let me hear you say. Work, work.
Nannies are blowing up on social media. It's time to get noticed and get things moving. Are you ready to connect with other nannies and learn about all the daily events in the nanny community? You can post your next event and never miss a beat with our brand new online service, Nanny Announcements. Sign up now at nannyannouncements.com. Hi, Super Nannies. Did you hear? We are proud to announce the launch of our new business called Clearly Nanny, and we have something just for you. To do just that, we present you nanny-inspired pins. We see how hard you have worked during the pandemic, and now more than ever, you should be proud to call yourself a nanny. Join our movement of 100,000 nannies proudly wearing their pins. Purchases can be made at clearlynanny.com, where we are 100,000 strong.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. I hope you loved our preview. How are you tonight, Danny?
I'm so good. I
Let
love
me
that
turn,
preview.
let me turn my volume up. Can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, okay, you froze. Okay, I see you now.
There we go.
I see you now. Okay, so hello, Mitch. Uh, M. Harper Lee. How are you? Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Okay, so I'm going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll start asking you questions about Nanny ABCs.
Ooh,
It
nice.
sounds simple.
Yeah, well, I love that. I can take all of that. Super simple.
Okay,
Uh, I'm
so
Danny.
tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a fun fact.
Ooh, fun facts. Okay, so I'm Danny, but I mean, I love fun facts. I have like so many fun facts, and it is about myself. Uh, I'll give you a couple because there's a couple that I go between because I think they're crazy incredible. Okay, well, that makes me sound a little egotistical with one of them, but the other one, you'll understand why. So the first one would be there's a statue in Chicago on the Riverwalk of a relative of mine with George Washington. They're like shaking hands.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's cool.
Uh, and then the other one is that I used to be a musician full time. And with that, I used to be on the Billboard charts often. And there was one time that I was sandwiched between Ed Sheeran and John Mayer.
Okay, so I have a celebrity in my presence. Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
And then I decided to go get rid of all of that and just become a nanny, which I love actually way more.
What made you decide to go from musician to nanny?
Well, so while I was always so I was a professional musician for 14 years. And
Okay.
while I was doing that, I always found some time in the summer to work at a summer camp. And I just really loved working with the children. So then eventually, being on tour all the time, writing music, just working in the industry, I think it just got to me in a way, and I started thinking about like other things. So remember, like I had been in the band for 14 years, so a lot of what I was doing, I really thought I was defining myself as in a band. That was who Danny was. And then I realized that like that's not, I don't have to define myself that way. And there's other things, there's other mountains, other peaks for me to go to. And I knew immediately that I didn't want to be a teacher, but I wanted to work with kids. And I just thought I should be a nanny. And it was pretty as quick as that. I started making a resume for it. I started reaching out. I started going on all the platforms. And soon, like within the first month of me trying to be a nanny, I was a nanny for a family full time. It was incredible.
Wow. Okay. Hello, Jacqueline, and hello, Shannon says hello, Danny, and
Hey,
I think that's a heart she sent you too.
well,
Uh,
I think it's for us.
okay. All right. I'll hang on to that.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so and Jen says hello, Danny and Angela. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all for
Hey,
watching us. Uh,
Jen.
let me
Hey.
see. Let me log into onto my page and let me make sure because sometimes the comments that are here don't show up on. Well, some comments are on my phone don't
Wow.
show up here because
There's like
it just
so much
depends.
going on.
There is so much going on. Mike says, hello there. Mike Isaacson, hello, how are you? Okay, so I don't know what I was doing. Let me discard that. Okay, so you went from musician to nanny,
Yes.
and then was the transition hard? Was it hard for you to go from being this on stage, everybody, the crowd is roaring for you and going crazy to hi there, I'm Danny and I'm going to be your nanny. Was that a
Um,
hard transition?
it was, but not that part of it. And it really does seem like you've been to one of my shows. That's what people were always screaming. Oh, Danny, you're the best. And what really was hard was learning to work with parents. I really didn't have that in my head as like such a thing. And that's most of what being in, like, that's what separates, I guess I don't want to say it like that, but that is like, to me, what separates like a really good nanny from like just being a nanny. Like, I think there's so many nannies out there that are so amazing with children, like so amazing with children. And then there's the nannies that are so amazing with children and know how to like talk to parents and get things done and learn how to thrive in this environment that's thrown at them. Because it's not natural to be in somebody else's house and or go on
All day
vacation
long.
or all of those things. It's just not something that you grow up knowing how to do. It
Right.
doesn't matter if you've been at like to your best friend's house all the time and we're always there for dinner. Like, there's just nothing really like it. So learning how to talk to parents and assert myself properly and like just like get a handle on all of that. That was not necessarily a challenge, but it was eye-opening that I needed to work on that. And I kind of saw that like across the board. So while I became a nanny, I started working with an agency doing their training. And so I got to meet a lot of nannies that way, which was awesome because being a nanny can be tremendously lonely. And
Exactly.
yeah, so like meeting so many, it was like wonderful. I was like, oh, I'm not in this alone. And I had so many questions about being a nanny because there's very little resources. Even to this day, there's more resources. Like we have Ask the Nanny. It's amazing. Like what you do is so amazingly helpful. But overall, like what is an official resource is hard to find, or like just like it's very intangible. It's not really there. Like I was like, one of my big questions early on was, what is the difference between me and a nanny that makes crazy money? Like I was just like, what is it? Like I don't understand. Not like I was looking for crazy money. Not that I would say no to that, but
I was gonna say,
yeah, but it was like, what do I do? Like how do you get that job, or what is that like? Where is this? It was very like imaginary, but I knew that somebody had to know. And one of the best pieces of advice someone gave me was an agency owner. And she was like, Danny, there's no difference between you and a nanny that makes crazy money. You are that. It's just about what job you have. And I was like, oh, okay. Like that was so helpful. Like there's just like little things like that all around that you don't necessarily know unless you talk to a bunch of nannies. And it's just like that.
So how long have you been a nanny?
I've been a nanny for I'm on my 4th year.
Cool. So you've been at it for a little while.
I've been
Okay,
in it for a little while.
we have a question. Do we get to hear what band, or is it top secret?
So I can tell you what band it is. I'll tell you though, it's a little hard on my heart to talk about it. I don't know why, really. I guess because I'm not a part of it anymore. But so the band I was in was The Empty Pockets. That was the band.
The Empty
I know
Pocket.
you've never heard of it, but we were still on the Billboard charts. It's very tricky, and I could give you a master class on how the music industry works and how it all it's very odd. It's just a very odd industry, I guess, like being a nanny. So
Yeah.
that was part of what made this so helpful for me is I already had like a background in business just with being in my band. There were certain strides that we made just by knowing how to gain an audience and build on all of these things, all of the things that you do as at Nanny, as Ask the Nanny, as the Nanny Hookup, as all of the things you do, you know all of that business stuff. And business is tricky. It's really hard. You're awesome at it though. Like you're like
Well, I'm
so good at it.
learning as I go. I'm learning by the seat of my pants. Today's the first day. It took me like 3 hours. No, about 5 hours because I had to stop and go to figure out that preview right before we came on.
Yeah.
I had to transfer it from the movie to the MP4. Anyway, that part of the business, the techie part of the business, I would rather somebody else do that.
Oh, I'm with you.
But the nanny part of the business, this part of the business, being able to talk and communicate and connect people, that is what I love. That's so me. That's me. So tell us about how you came up with Nanny ABCs.
So we actually touched on it just a little bit is when I became a nanny, I immediately had a zillion questions and I was looking for help everywhere. I went on the internet, of course. I actually went to bookstores. I looked for books about nannying and I found books written by nannies, like the ones that like we know of, like the Nanny 911 people. Like I found those books, but that wasn't about nannying. Those books were about parenting. So like I kept searching. I looked for blogs, and this is only a couple of years ago. There really was like much less than what there is now, which is awesome that there's so much like now. So I couldn't find any great resources. So as I figured stuff out, I started writing it all down. I didn't really know what to do with it, but I knew that I wanted to make a book. I knew that I wanted to like give it to nannies and just be like, this is like the stuff you need to know in your first year. My biggest question that I had was, how do I go to the bathroom when I'm working with children? I couldn't find the answer anywhere.
That is $1 million question. It is so simple of a question, but it is such a you have to maneuver. I can't tell you how many times I've seen on posts on Facebook. Okay, so the 2-year-old is sitting on the floor while I go potty. So they're knocking at the door and I can't go. And I even had a dad share at the conference last year at the U.S. Nanny Association conference. We had a forum called My Biggest Supporter. And one of the husbands was talking about his wife, who was a nanny, about going to the bathroom and that the contractors were there. And the kids were on the door just beating away. And the contractors, she didn't know that they were right outside the door. So she opens the door and they're like, and the child says, "Good job going to potty." And so she takes a bow. And the contractors start clapping their hands. And I'm just like, really? And he said, yeah. He said, she's going to kill me for telling you this. But but that's a legitimate question. How do you go to the bathroom with little ones that are knocking at the door that you don't want to get in there? They're too big to go in the playpen, but also too big to really come in the bathroom. You know, you want just a little bit of privacy. So yeah. What was your answer to that question?
So my answer is pretty simple. I want to point out too, it is difficult being a man because even if I could find an answer, it was pretty like all the nannies I asked, they were like, I could tell you, but it's not going to help you. Like you're a guy. I was like, okay.
Right. That's a totally different story.
Yeah. But basically, so I traveled with a family a lot. And so these bathroom excursions were not just at the home. It could be anywhere. So basically, I was working with 2 kids at the time. And I go in the book of like how you could just do this. But what I did specifically for me was I had the 2 kids go to the bathroom themselves first. and then they would be behind me while I went to the bathroom, and I'd have them talk about stuff. Like we would talk together, but it kind of kept their mind on like just not having to worry about anything else, just like we're all in this together. And that really was helpful for me. And that's how we basically did it.
Wow. I know I've taken care of toddlers and children, and it's like, okay, so you either hold it until nap time, or you kind of strategically place them outside the door. Don't move from this chair, and you kind of have the door cracked, and you're listening, and you're it's a production to go to the bathroom while nannying.
It's really
even at night, even when you work overnight, it is a production because you're trying to sneak out of the room, and then you got to flush the toilet and hope not to wake up the whole household. So yeah. And then if the child cries right when you're going out the door, you can't go to the bathroom. You got to go back and pick up the child, and you're sitting here and you're thinking everybody looking on the camera thinking, oh, she's just bouncing the baby. No, I'm doing the pee-pee dance because I got to go potty. So it is a challenge to go to the bathroom. So I know you wrote the Nanny ABCs. How did that come about?
So it started as, I don't know what I'm doing, and I knew that there wasn't really a lot of resources out there for nannies. So I really just wanted, everything I do is just really on the whole idea is I just want to help people do this better and without reinventing the wheel. It's like a concept I feel like I say all the time, reinventing the wheel, but it's because like we as nannies work alone. We don't have another person there to ask necessarily. Like you might ask mom and dad if you can catch them, but you're pretty much alone figuring this out. So a lot of families that hire a nanny, they don't know what they're doing. And then the nanny might have little clue like I did. So like, there's just like a lot of caregivers that are wonderful caregivers, but they might have come in this from teaching, or they might have come in it from being a camp counselor or things like that, where you're great with kids, but then you don't know how to work through all these other extra challenges. And so that's just everything I do is just like trying to eliminate those like, oh, I had to figure this out by myself. You don't have to figure this out. We've already figured it out. And it wasn't that like I'm a genius. It was just that like I am going to write down the things that we all have to figure out for ourselves, so the next people, they don't have to figure it out like we did. That's the craziest part that I think about nannying, is that everyone goes through these things. Everyone has to figure out how to go to the bathroom with these kids by themselves. But that's like just, I can't think of another word, but that's just garbage to me. That there's no.
It's so basic but it's so difficult at the same time.
Yeah, and there's just like so many things. I talk in my book. It's not like, the book is very much like a Boy Scout, Girl Scout manual. It's like you're going to come upon this situation, and this is how you handle it. Or these are the things you should know, from like the rights that a nanny has, like where the Fair Labor Law Act works in favor with what you do as a job, and just all these basic things that really help you. But in the book, I talk about like what goes in the dishwasher and what doesn't go in the dishwasher, because I didn't know. So I knew that was like a thing that like, oh, you might not know how this works. And I mean, like I ruined a sentimental wooden spoon of a family's because I just didn't know. Like nobody told me. I didn't grow up with a dishwasher, so I just didn't know. And I'm like learning as I go, like lots of things. And that was just one of them. I fixed the spoon, by the way, too. I found some edible, like it's not edible glue, but it's like edible safe glue. I don't know. It was like a wood glue. I have a large jar. Nobody else, just nobody else put wooden spoons in the dishwasher, and you'll be fine. But I found it and I fixed it.
That's a good tip to know. I did a reel about sippy cups. because
Yes.
I know, and dads don't kill me, but a lot of dads, they just unscrew the top and throw them in the dishwasher. The Dr. Brown's bottles, they unscrew the top and throw it in there. You have to take those little pieces apart because if milk gets trapped in there and it washes with the hot water and then the dryer comes on, it molds. You are essentially, and you don't see it until it just gets all clogged up and gooey and everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm feeding my child this. But the sippy cups, most of the sippy cups come with like the little the no spill little
Yeah.
attachment that goes inside. Most of I've had over the weekend the cup that I specifically gave to the child before I left that Friday
Yeah.
was in the cabinet on Monday. I know because it was her favorite cup. Well, I go back and I take the cup down and I'm getting ready to fill it with her milk. And I get ready to put the top on. I just happen to see this green thing on
Ooh.
the inside of the cap. I pull it out and there's mold all in there.
Uh,
And it looked like it was milk and it stunk and I was like, oh my gosh. So when the parents got home, I asked them, what happened to the cup because this is what I found. And I took a picture of it. And Dad was like, well, we washed it on the weekend. She hadn't had it all weekend. We washed it and put it in the cabinet. I said, did you take the little stopper out? But why would I do that? Because this is what happens when you don't take the stopper out. It molds. It's in the dishwasher. Then you put it in the cabinet for a couple of days and you got mold. I said it was green with mold and gooey stuff inside the cap
ugh.
because the cap was solid and the little stopper that goes in it was caught between the cap and the little stopper.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of gooey, just curdled milk and bleh in
Correct.
there. I said, and if I had not, checked from that point on, I checked every cup,
Yeah.
every stopper, every bottle. From that point on, I checked them to make sure that there's nothing in there, that you haven't put it in the dishwasher and taken it out and there's nothing in there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's mold or whatever in there. So that little thing
Yeah.
can make your child sick. I am highly allergic to mold. It could have made me really sick or killed me.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
horrible.
that's horrible. So when I found that, I'm like, oh my gosh. I started washing my hands, started bleaching everything.
Yeah.
I was like, no, 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 no. But yes, those little things that we just kind of take for granted
Yeah.
are important.
Yeah.
So in your book, I liked how you went through the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I
Oh,
thought that was so neat. I was like, it really is the ABCs.
yeah. I'm glad you like that because when I was writing it, I was just had like lots and lots of different notes on tons of subjects, but I had no idea how to organize it. And so eventually it just like dawned on me to just do the alphabet like you do in kids books. And I was like, oh, that, and then it all clicked in. And like, that's when it really started working and was easy. I mean, as easy as that gets.
And it makes it an easy read too, because you're like, okay, what's for P? All right, okay. Now, what is for Q? I know Q has got to be, there's certain letters that you just like, okay. Even in the children's books, I want to see what's for letter Q, what's for letter X, and what's for letter Z.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of like the few words. Okay, what did you come up with? So when I read the book, I was like, I love this because it's really actually ABCs. And that's awesome. Now, I want to talk a bit about your training because I know you have a training program now through
Yeah.
Nanny ABCs. You have a training program now for nanny agencies for their nannies. And I
Yeah.
know you said that you worked when you first came off the big stage, that you worked as a nanny trainer in the nanny agency. So tell me a bit about that, and then tell me about how that refers to the program that you have set up now.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to I really liked the agency that placed me. Like I had I don't know. I don't want to say like it was fun, but like it was great. It was just a really good experience.
Well, you
And
can
so,
shout them out if you want to.
yeah, that would be Chicago Collegiate Nannies and Boston Collegiate Nannies. Both of them.
Okay. The collegiate nannies. Okay. I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, I think it would be a little lit. I can't talk all of a sudden, but it's Lydia Brown, and she's just amazing. She really knows what she's doing. She's a closer. She gets it.
Okay.
Yeah. And so they were growing, and so they wanted someone else. And I'm just like super enthusiastic. I wanted to learn everything about nannying. Like that's just the kind of person I am. I get like I get really involved in things, and I just like obsess about it in maybe
Tunnel vision.
bordering on unhealthy ways. I don't know. Like I just love things so much. The things that I love, I really love. So I started working with them, and they were like, what do you kind of want to do? These are the things that we need someone to do. And I was like, I'll learn all those things, but I'm really interested in this like talking to nannies every Saturday thing. And that's like where I had, like, it was just the best. And so like, they have this system. It's not really a system. They have like one class that you have to take, and it's really great. It was helpful, like if you had been a nanny for like 10 plus years, or if you're brand new to this. It just kind of went over basic things. It was refreshing. There's not a lot of things like that out there. So it was just helpful for nannies. Like I said, like the nannies that did it, that were like a nanny for like 10 years, they still enjoyed coming to the class. And so I wrote down like all of these things, and I would add to it, and I would just like keep adding. And like in the class, I was teaching the class, and I was still like taking notes on things and be like, oh, that's great. Like I need to hit upon that every time. So I just kept writing notes, and I kept finding where nannies have real struggles. And so after I wrote the book that I just like, I didn't really know what to do with it. I still don't really know what to do with it. I hope people find it helpful, but like, I'm not like doing stuff really. And so I decided to like make the book basically into like a program of like training based on what nannies actually had questions to me about. So just as an example, there's in one like nanny training course that is out there and exists, they talk about nutrition, and that's fantastic. And nutrition is definitely something that people should know about. They should definitely know about that when they're working with kids. But no nanny ever came up to me asking about nutrition things. What they did ask was, how do I work with this picky eater? Or like things that were like not like nutrition falls into parenting for me. And then there's like nanny things. There's like, okay, well, picky eating is a very complex situation because you're not just working with the children, you're probably also working with the parents on how to remedy the situation. And before I say any more, I really would have to say that doing those types of things, like helping a child like eat more of different things, a better diverse meal, that's fantastic. Helping a child do that. But a parent might not want you to do that, or might not care, or like it just might hit this other territory that is going above and beyond, and it's not necessary really. It could be like, to me, those were all the things. Like I just wanted to come in and help take this whole family, children and parents, to the next level in everything. And if I had to say like, well, my superpower is, it's reading people and then knowing what their real intentions are and like what is bothering them. Like I just have this skill that is like, I only mention it because it gets pointed out to me. People say, Danny, you're really good at like emotionally reading people and like helping them through things and like giving lots of point of views. I think of like everything as like, here's where you start. Then here's the layer that most people peel off. Then there's this other layer that some people can peel off. And I'm thinking like, I just keep pulling from like different ideas and situations and just really trying to pick apart how to make something more helpful for children or families, no matter how it is.
Harper Lee says you're intuitive. I say you have a sense of discernment, because in order to read people, you have to discern what the need is, what the problem is, and it's all about body language, not necessarily what they're saying, but underneath what they aren't saying, but the intention in what they're saying. They're trying to just skim across the surface, and you're like, I see something more there, but I'm not going to say anything until you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not something that I'm formally trained in any way. Like, I'm not trying, I don't know.
Most people aren't. They just know how to do it. It's just a gift.
Yeah, and it's just really helpful. And so, like, I don't know. That's like my nanny superpower. And that's like what helps navigate the things that I do and how I do them and where I proceed. And it really is probably the part of me that really wanted to help this industry grow in, like, what are the best practices? Like, I just really want people to not stumble or fall, like, where it's easy to, like, asking for a vacation day or having a sick day. These are like things that really weigh on a caregiver, because there's no one to replace you when you're not there that day. Someone has to figure it out, and there's no one that can come in and tag you in and tag you out. So, like, those asks are really hard, and it's really, my whole training really is about advocating for yourself on how to thrive, and it's little sneak peeks on how to just navigate the real world of nannying better. So it's working with parents, how to really, like, make that connection solid, where the boundaries are, how to just, I don't know, all of these situations that are immediately applicable is what I always say, because it needs to be like, that's what so I have a podcast, which you should definitely be on it. I keep meaning to ask you, and I get nervous and I don't ask you. I'm asking you right now. You should be on it.
Yes.
And
so you hear me loud and clear. Yes, yes, yes.
See, this right here, that's like what I'm talking about. Like, that nervousness that I had about asking you to be on my podcast, it's so needless and it's not helpful. And, you know, you just need to ask things, or like talk about things, or not picture. I'm really great at picturing the terrible outcomes of everything. That's like this thing. And I've had to work really hard to tell myself that it's all made up. Every time I approach a situation, those other ways that I thought someone was going to react never happened. It's never happened. No one has ever reacted the way I thought they were going to react. It's usually much kinder and with understanding. So there's all of these things that I just like working out, and that I've helped nannies do themselves. So I've helped nannies like talk to parents. The best thing that happens is a nanny will ask me, like, what do you do in this situation? And I was like, okay, well, have you talked to the parents about it? And they'll go, no. You go, that's the first thing you need to do. You need to just talk to them about it and see like where it goes. And like from there, like, here's options, here's ideas of stuff. But just saying like, hey, can I connect with you for a moment later today? Or do you have time to talk about something? Those are really hard things for a lot of people in general. And it's much more immediate for a nanny, because you don't have another coworker that you can ask like, hey, how do you do this? Or what do I do when this happens? Or could you cover for me? You don't have any of those things.
No, we don't have a HR department. We are the HR department. We are customer service.
Yes.
We are the chief cook, bottle washer, take care of the kids, the laundry, the whatever, the household manager. If something happens to us, then the whole house goes awry. But at the same time, if we don't take care of ourselves, set some boundaries, and do what we need to do for ourselves, we're not going to be there to help take care of anybody, because we're out over here on the couch or in the bed and with the sniffling and I can't take her, and the kids, half the time it's the kids that come home from school and make us sick
Yeah.
because they are immune to the germs at school. They are immune to everything.
Yeah.
And never mind that, somebody took your sleeve and wiped their nose on it, but and then I have to go and put the same sleeve in the washer, and I'm putting all these other things in the washer, and it gets on my hands, and I just happen to go like this. Okay, and it's all up in my nose now. It's in my face. Oh, I got it. Whatever it was that little Sally at school had that wiped her nose on your sleeve. It's just like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're sick. How in the world did I get sick? The kids are not sick, but well, it was somebody at school that gave a germ to somebody else. They gave the germ to them, and they brought it home. And then everybody else, mom and dad get sick. The kids are like, okay, so what we gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, but it is not. We don't do ordinary jobs. Our ordinary job, nobody. It takes a special person to do that
Yeah. Absolutely.
because we have to maneuver so many things. And sometimes we have preconceived um, thoughts about our bosses. Well, they're not going to go for that. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. Or uh, oh, I don't ask. Well, when I go to my bosses with a problem, I also go with a solution
Yes.
as to how to work it out. How these are some suggestions that you can take or leave alone, but this is what I need. And in order for me to be my best for you, this is what I need. Now, how can we work this out? Here are some suggestions on how to work that out. Here's some things that you can do. Here's
Yeah.
some activities. I put this together for you. I did this extra. So over the weekend, you can have plenty of time to do this, or you can indulge in this activity because dad's going to be at home alone with the kids. And no, I don't want you calling me in asking me, can you come take them for a couple of hours? No, here's something for you to do to keep them busy because the weekend is mine and I need time to refresh and renew. So when I come back in there and work 60 hours next week in 5 days, that I can be refreshed. I can be on point. So by the end of the week, when I say good night and I go home, I don't want to hear from you over the weekend
Yeah.
unless somebody died. And I don't want to hear from you then because somebody died. It'll be a sad, but you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear from you because I am enjoying my life. And I think sometimes employers think because they are paying us that we are at their beck and call. And because I'm paying you, you should be able to stay late. You should be able to take on this task. You should be able to do this extra. You should be able, well, I'm paying you. Well, I'm paying you. Well, I'm paying you. Well, you're not paying me enough to do all that you're asking me to do. I go the extra mile because of my heart, because I am a giver. But when you start to take advantage of me, then we're going to have a problem. And that's when I come up with solutions to your problem before you even realize it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So you
That
have to get ahead of them.
that's one of those things. There's so much there that you said that I just so love. But the last thing is so true. It's if I was working for a family and if like a year I made $30,000, or if I'm working for a family and I'm getting $80,000, the way that I work, it doesn't change. There's not like a bargain bin Danny where like I'm gonna do less. I'm gonna do everything as you're gonna get that caliber no matter where you are in that. And so
Right.
one of those things that you mentioned that I really love is where you were talking about we got to take care of ourselves. And a lot of people think taking care of yourself means like on the weekend, you use that to rejuvenate, re-energize, or like when you get home, you decompress, doing those things. And those are wonderful ways to take care of yourself. But that's not all. There's also at work. So at work, I think a lot of it starts with how you thrive at work. And so like, how do you build upon that? Like, how do you get that to work, and how do you get that to happen? And that's where a lot of that comes into play. Because if you've made your work a place for you to thrive and do your best, as easy as possible, you've had all those hard conversations, you've brought things up. If you're capable of doing that, well, then on the weekend, you don't have to use it so much to re-energize and rejuvenate in that much more complex way that you do if the whole week, if it gets longer on Wednesday and then Thursday it's really hard, and then Friday's still just the worst and you're waiting for it to be over. And then you're like, great, and now I can decompress over the weekend. If you have this other way where you're just working it out and making sure that you're getting what you need and the support that you need to thrive as a caregiver within their home, then it's already easier. You've already hit to this next plane where you have to spend hours on the weekend, rejuvenating.
In the bed, just sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
I like what you're saying, because I used to just work. And even during nap time, and some families, especially now that they are at home, you may work a 10-hour day and they expect you not to get a break.
Right.
For that 10 hours, but they come in the kitchen and they're eating lunch and they're on the phone talking to their friends. I'm going out for a jog. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. They take a few minutes to go shopping. Oh, I'm going to get my nails done. And they take a break every day, but they come in the kitchen and see you sitting. The kids are fine. They're taking a nap and you're taking a break. I'm eating my lunch and I'm looking on my phone. And I get a text 5 minutes later saying, "Can you do this? When you get a little time, little free time, can you do this, this, and this?" That day, my husband said, that was the wrong day to catch me, because that was the day that the family was moving. It's not my responsibility to pack boxes for you, but because I'm trying to be helpful, I got the kids' stuff together. So then you asked me, can you put the books in the living room in the boxes and tape them up? I said, I have packed the children's toys. I have packed most of their clothes. They are in boxes and they are sealed. I am having lunch right now while the kids are asleep. I am taking a break. I have been here for 7 hours already and I am just now taking a break. I need a break. And I left it alone and I hit the send button. And 2 seconds after I sent it, I was like, oh, why did I send that? Because I was emotionally stressed at the time. I was angry because you asking me to pack your boxes, that this is not my responsibility. This is your responsibility. I helped you with the kids stuff. I'm responsible for the kids. Now, packing them up is still a ability, but because I take care of the kids and because I know if I pack everything in order, when it gets to the other side, I'll know where everything is. When we have to sit there in a pile of boxes, I'll know where the toys are. I'll know where their favorite things are so that I can pull them out and it will make it easier for me.
Yeah.
That was why I did it. But for you, because I was nice and packed up the kids' stuff, apparently it just carried over to you thinking, oh, well, she can pack the living room up. She's not doing anything. She's just sitting at the table.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at the table taking a break from packing up all the stuff upstairs. When you got 3 kids, hello, that is not an easy move.
Yeah.
And all 3 of them have rooms to be packed up. So that's 3 rooms to pack up. No.
Yeah. I mean, the first job that I had, I worked for a family where there was 2 nannies. I was one of 2. And so part of what I had to do was I would come in the morning and there'd be all the dishes in the sink, and this is where I ruined the spoon because I didn't know how the dishwasher worked, but I would have to clean all of these dishes and it was fine. But they knew that that was like what I do. So, and I'm new to nannying, so I don't know like what's okay to do and what's not okay to do. Like, where are they taking advantage of me? Like, but I'm also just a willing person, and I want to learn things, so I'm doing it all. And one day, I mean, it was usually pretty bad already. Like, it was not fun doing this, but I can do it. I can definitely do it. But one day, it was crazy. I come back in from, it's Monday morning now, and there's dishes all around this very large kitchen, and it's just everywhere. And I just hit this wall with this, and I was like it, I don't know, it like hurt my feelings in a way. Like, it was
Because it's called job creep.
Yeah. And so I was doing the dishes, but when the mom came down, and this is like where everything I do is based on, when I'm helping nannies, and I talk about advocating for yourself. I just asked the mom, hey, I'm just wondering, am I like the family dishwasher? Because I just need to know, so then I can make sure like that's in my head, that that's what I do, and then I can do this. And she was like blown away. And she was like, absolutely not. You are our nanny and you take care of our kids. That's it. Do the dishes, don't do the dishes. I don't care. I want you taking care of our kids at the best. And I was like,
you stop doing the dishes?
No, I kept doing them, but they didn't. They were much better. They were much better. But like that,
you made them aware of what they just took for granted.
Exactly, because they had been doing it for years. So I told the other nanny that. I was like, hey, just so you know, this is like what happened between me and the mom about the dishes and stuff like this. And that other nanny had been there for like 4 years already. And that nanny's head exploded, because that nanny had been doing those dishes that I'm now doing. They were like tag teaming. She had been doing them for 4 years, just taking it and never spoke up. And she was like, I could have just said something. And that's everything. Is you, part of it is knowing how to speak up, how it's professional, and how to do it appropriately. Taking, the emotions out of it can be hard, but there's ways to like work on that, and there's ways to approach all of these situations where a lot of the pressure is instantly already, it's off before you've asked for anything. But that's like everything that I like a nanny to know. That's like what makes you able to thrive, is by asking those questions, by bringing up topics in a way that it's not like, I wasn't trying to make the mom feel bad, and I don't really think I did, but I made her aware of the situation, and I was looking for a way to thrive. So if I do all the dishes, is that a good work situation for me? Well, probably not. But again, like if she had been like, yes, Danny, that is part of what you do, I would have been like, okay, because I came in thinking I'm here for the kids, and I was doing all of these crazy things for kids. I basically made them like their own workbooks based on like what they were learning in school, and like how to like take them to the next level at home, and like these kits. I just like did all these crazy things. And when I realized I might be the family dishwasher, that was really disheartening for me, and that was really hard. And then I found out I'm not the family dishwasher. Do it, because it helps things out. And that's also another part of what I like doing, is thinking like everything I do is like, if there's a moment that I can do something extra, so then the parents have extra time with their kids later in the week, like I definitely do it. And it's not something that I feel is a burden to me. It's because like I feel like that's how I'm killing it as a nanny, because I did an extra load of laundry. Now that mom doesn't have to do that load of laundry over the weekend, and she can use that time to hang out with her kids. And I will tell you 100% literally, because I was doing those things, one time, one of the parents I worked for, a mom, she said, Danny, because you do this, I don't have to do that on the weekend anymore, and it saves me 2 hours, and I get to play with my kid. Like, that literally happened. That was my intention, and that's how it worked out. And that's like how I like to nanny. That's how I like people to nanny. But I wouldn't, if you're not thriving doing it, it's really hard to do that extra load of laundry if you're feeling burdened from all of these other things. But you have to ask a lot of questions, and that's hard.
It's a mindset, because once you set your mind that, oh, let me ask you, so I can set my mind, this is a part of my job, this is what I do,
Yes.
and I can wrap my head around that and know that on Monday morning, I'm going to have a boatload of dishes to do when I get there.
Yeah.
I can wrap my head around it. I may not like it, but I can wrap my head
Yeah.
around it. And it also, I'm one that goes the extra mile. I see things that need to be done and I do it. And the parents will tell me, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." And I will explain to them, "Well, I know you have to do this weekend, and I know this is going on, and the kids have this going on. So I just wanted to make sure that this was done before I left, so that you'll have time to spend time, and you won't have to rush the kids, because uh, I don't like what you I don't like you having to rush with the kids, because it bothers them. I always make sure I make time, most of the time, give extra time for, okay, if I know we got to be outdoor in 5 minutes, 10 minutes before that 5 minutes gets there, I'm telling them, okay, we're getting ready to go. I need you to get your coats and do whatever. Now, we can all do it. I can do it for them in 5 minutes. But if I give them the extra 5 minutes to go get it themselves, it makes them independent. It makes them let them put on their shoes. It works their fine. There's so much going on in my intention of what's going on. And if I take the extra time to let the kids do it and make them independent,
Yeah.
when mom and dad come home and I say, and I tell your mom what you did today. We did
Yeah.
this, and they're looking at me like, when did they start doing that? Oh, they've been doing it for a while. They just perfected it today.
Yeah.
So we I'm telling you this so that you can tell them, go do this, and they know how. They know how to do it. And when you tell them that Gigi expects you to do it right.
Yeah.
And because the first time she told him, she said, "Well, they kind of halfway do it." I said, "Did you say I said, "I forgot to tell you. Tell them Gigi expects you to do it right." She said, "Ever since I told them that, they have gone in there, and it was like a spectacular job." She said, "For a kid, it was a spectacular
Yeah.
job. For me, it was a spectacular job." I said, "They can do things, and they can do them right." I said, "You just have to give them responsibilities to do those things, to make them independent. Give them the choices that they need to think." Critical thinking in children is so important. Mitch says this is why contracts are important. Yes, Mitch, this is why contracts are important.
Yeah.
But there are some fine line things that are not in the contract,
That's
things that
true.
you may run into that are not necessarily in the contract. And you're like, okay, so what do we do in this situation? And that's when you have a conversation about what are we doing in this situation,
Yeah.
so that when that situation comes up again, both of you all will know what to expect, instead of you looking at mom like, that ain't my job, and mom looking at you like, why didn't you do this? So if both of you all come together and have that conversation, then it makes your workload and your work environment so much cleaner, so much smoother. I
Yeah.
work as a newborn care specialist, and I know that moms who just have babies have postpartum. And postpartum can be mild in some, it can be a deep, deep depression in others. I know my limitations. I can support you in postpartum. I am not a postpartum doula, but I have on speed dial several postpartum doulas and a couple of therapists. So if it gets down deep where I can't just talk you off the ledge and you come on back, uh, hello, I need your advice. This is a situation. Can you
Yeah.
come over and help mom? Can you tell me what to do to help mom? Because I know I am not. Uh, I try not to go outside of my skill level,
Yeah.
even though I know outside of my skill level. But I would hate to tell a parent to do something or to try something, and I have not checked with their doctor or with the postpartum or somebody above my pay grade,
Yeah.
so that I can say, well, so and so said, or the doctor said, or her gynecologist said, or her obstetrician said, or somebody else other than me said, so I can protect myself. I know that the people that I have on speed dial will tell me the truth. You need to get her. I can't, that's above my pay grade. Go to the next level. So then I call the therapist.
Yeah.
And I also know that in helping, I'm there to take care of the baby. That's my job. I'm not a postpartum doula. But in taking care of that baby, I can't ignore mom because mom is breastfeeding. I'm a lactation educator.
Ooh, I
Mom
love
is breastfeeding. And if mom is breastfeeding, I can't just let her. She said, well, she's not doing this. And I can't get her to latch. I can't do that. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, that's not my problem. Work it
that.
out.
Right.
It is I know that if mom gets discouraged and can go into depression, I'm not feeding my child. I'm not taking care of my child. Those are feelings and emotions that she has inside that she may, it may be a turmoil because maybe she had a child before and she wasn't able to take care of the child. She wasn't able to breastfeed the child, and that was a trigger for her. I don't know what mom's triggers are until I get in there and I get to know her.
Yeah.
But I always have a person, I always tell them, look, I need a person that's close to you, your husband, your best friend, you're somebody that I can call that can tell me this is her normal behavior. Yeah, that's how she reacts to that all the time. Pregnant or not, that's how she reacts to that. Okay, well, I know she's not crazy because that's how she acts. But if mom starts reacting totally different, and it's putting her in harm's way. She's not getting enough rest. She's not getting eating enough. And it's going to put that baby in harm's way because if mom's holding the baby and mom falls asleep and the baby falls out of mom's lap, guess what? That is a bigger problem because if the baby gets hurt, they're going to want to take the baby away from mom. And I don't want that. I want to keep the family together. I want mom to be well taken care of so she can take care of her baby. So I call in mom. I call in grandma or the husband or the friend or whatever so that I will know. I go that extra mile so that I can make sure not only the baby is okay, but mama is okay because mama is that baby's first lifeline.
Yeah.
So if the lifeline is not okay, baby is not going to be okay. Mom gets tired, and most people, when they get tired, it's not just babies. When we get tired, we get cranky and very short. Like, leave me alone. I told you I was sleeping. Just go somewhere. Or you fall asleep in the middle of a conversation. You're like, and yeah, and I was saying that so and so, and you're doing this conversation and you're bobbing your head. No, go to sleep, get some rest. You need rest. That's what I'm here for, to take care of this baby. So go the extra mile. Sometimes it pays to go the extra mile,
Yes.
even though your contract does not say, oh, well, you're supposed to take care of mommy too. You're here to take you. I'm hiring you as a newborn care specialist, but I'm also hiring you to take care of mommy too. No, that's not in my contract,
Right.
but I will take care of mom. I will check on mom, make sure mom is okay, make sure mom is eating right, make sure her diet is right. Did you write down what you're eating? Because if you're breastfeeding, what you're eating directly affects your child.
Yeah.
So all those extra pieces, all those extra mile pieces, do that because it is so important that it's a whole family. You don't just take care of the kids. It's a whole family deal
Yeah.
for me. Now, for others, other nannies, I'm just here to take care of the child. No, mine is a whole family deal. So I will know how to talk to mamas and daddies, how to have that conversation that you mentioned. Mom, just so I'm clear, am I supposed to be washing these dishes? Does this make sense to me? Those things that you mentioned, yes, that's what I want to know. That's what I need to know about what's going on. I
Yeah.
need to know all these goings ons and being an extra. And one last question before we go. How do you work with nanny agencies to train the nannies on having these conversations and doing the extra mile and all this other stuff that you have in your Nanny ABCs training for the
Yeah.
agency?
That's a great question. What I do is I call up agencies and I say, hey, I have this system. I think your agency might be able to benefit with it. And there's a bunch of reasons why. And basically, what I do is I have a live training class that's over like Zoom. Or yeah, I mean, I'm using Zoom right now. I don't know how I feel about it, but I like it, right? So I do it over Zoom, and then then there's virtual courses, which is for the lowest level of how this works. It's basically what we talked about in Zoom, but it's very comprehensive in a way that I probably didn't cover it in the Zoom, because what's awesome about the live training is if you're there, you can ask the question that you need the answer to, like what's going on with you. And so we can pivot, we can talk about that stuff. And there's just like all of these things, and the topics can change. But I have these core topics that I like to talk about. And then there's the virtual courses to back that stuff up, and you can do it at your own speed. So maybe I talked about things too fast, or I skipped something by accident. Like, it's in the virtual course. And then one of my favorite parts, but I haven't really started doing it yet, but I cannot wait to really start doing it once I'm there's like so much I love talking about, but there's this one part that it's very similar to the live training, but it's not that. It's like a round table Q&A. And so I come in with a topic, and if you're taking the course, if you're doing the training, you can come in too. And what's awesome about it is it's a very small topic to talk about, to give your mind more motivation, or to just think about things. Sometimes it's my favorite one. My first one is about core values. And like, what are your core values? And are you living those in life? Like, if being on time is important to you, are you on time all the time? Like, is that a thing that is actually important to you? Are you living your core values, right? So we might talk about that type of stuff. And then I give you action steps to work on that, to figure those things out. And then we just open up the floor. And if you're there and you have a question, I'm going to give you the answer of how I work through that, or what I think is the best way to do that or go about that. So like, if you're doing something, like, we don't leave you hanging at any point. It's very comprehensive. Like, you're fully supportive. You got the live training, you have the virtual courses to take at your own speed. And then something comes up, you just tune in, and then you ask your question when it's time to ask questions. And we just go through everybody. Like, we're not doing like, okay, we only got a few. I will stay there for 5 hours if there's 5 hours worth of questions. Like, we'll work it out. That's what it's all about.
Yes. Now, how can we contact you? What's the best way to contact you?
The very best way is to go to www.nannyabcs.com, and you can just look at the website and you can find out how to contact me there. There's plenty of buttons for that. Or you can just email me directly at dannyjnanny@nannyabcs.com. And I would be more than happy to read your email and work with you or talk to you or whatever it is that you need. If you want to just say hi, I'm a big advocate of just learning to connect and pushing that forward. So if you just want to say, hey, Danny, I exist out there as a nanny. It's great to meet you. Or, like, I watched, Ask the Nanny. I totally disagree with you on all of these things. Here's where they are. I will read that email too, and we'll become friends, whether you like me or not, because it's just like, that's what connecting is about. And that's how to further what we do. Like, if one of us is succeeding, we're all succeeding, and that's just it. And that's what I base everything on. So that's it all.
All right. I'm writing your contact information. It's nannyabcs.com.
Yep. Simple. I'm also super on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's my favorite place. People will send me things on Instagram, which I am learning to work on that better. And I know that I look young, but I still don't understand how it works. So obviously I'm not that young, and it doesn't vibe with me. I don't really understand how it works. So I miss a lot of those messages. And every once in a while I figure, like, I just don't know where the buttons are. So I'm not trying to not respond to you.
They keep changing it, Danny. That's why you don't know.
It takes me like 4
I know I am technically not so savvy.
Yeah.
But they keep changing things. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, that was the button last week. Why is it changing this week?
Yeah.
They keep changing the buttons. And they keep changing okay, so here's the button. Okay, that used to be just add a post. Now it's add a post, add a reel, add go live, go. I'm like, just give me one option. I just need one place to find this one thing, not 50 places. So, yeah.
So I'm easy to find. If people want to find me, I'm like super easy to find. And I love talking to people. Like, I love building it forward. In fact, I really highly suggest anyone reach out to me. Like, I don't know what I could do to make it worth your while, but like, I'll figure it out, because like, I want to learn. I want to meet more nannies. I love working it out. Like, I love the nannies that I've met. They've become my core group of like who I ask when I'm having a problem. I don't go to Facebook. I definitely recommend not going to Facebook to ask questions like that. If you're like, what's happening? Like, I can just ask one of my many nanny friends of like, hey, what do I do in this situation? Or like, I know that Shannon Parole is better, in this situation. She knows how to do that. So I'm going to ask her. Or I'll go like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to ask Nanny Shars what she does when this happens. And like, we're not hard to find or connect with. Like, that's what we were talking about early on, is me talking with you. It wasn't a crazy connection. It wasn't hard to do. Like, I have a podcast, Nanny ABCs Next Step Podcast. And it's available everywhere. So definitely listen to it. But if you want to be on the podcast, just reach out. It's pretty simple. And I've found so many nannies with really unique perspectives that really help these things. Like, there's just like super nannies out there. They're all over the place. And I love meeting them all. Like, I just love this industry. I'm like, I could talk about it for hours. I love it. I talk to my friends about it that are not nannies. And,
yeah, not so much.
Yeah, they don't care. But I do.
I try to talk to my husband, and he's like, I said, you're just saying in all the appropriate places, right?
Yeah.
But now that I've been in it for a while, and he understands the business, because he's a businessman. He understands more of the business side of my work than he does the actual physical side of my work. So he's like, what? Well, why did you do that? That doesn't make sense. Trust me. If you know the parents, then it makes all the sense in the world. If you know that child, then it makes all the sense in the world. But to you, what I do, or why I did something for a particular family, and you're like, and I'm like,
yeah. Well,
because I know it's going to set them up for success and not for failure.
Yeah, well, I know that we all know that we're not glorified babysitters. What we do is this other thing. And I suppose my goal is really, at the end of all of the days, that nannying is looked very similar to like how we look to teachers, and how we're always like, teachers deserve more because they're really helping us. And I'm like, that is what we do. But we do it at home with a few kids, but we do it with a whole family, or however we do it. But it's a really important and it's just a really important career that anyone that's a nanny, they're all right in my book. Like, I know that they know some things, and I'll love to meet all of you. Yes.
Thank you so much, Danny, for joining us tonight and for sharing your training and your the empty pockets. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Wow.
The empty pockets. I'm getting better on remembering names.
That's amazing.
That's one of my things that I'm trying to do, is get better on remembering names. But you all check Danny out. I'm sure that he had some hit songs. Uh, and chart toppers and all that. I love listening to music. I'm not into the charts and all that. Oh, that was number one on the R&B and the pop charts and the this, and I'm like, okay. I just like the music that I like,
Hey,
and
I'm the same
that
way.
I don't like, I don't listen to. So I just know music is a big part of me. I use music therapy with my kids to uh, transition from one activity to another, to transition from uh uh Mitch says I looked them up, fly outfits you wore.
Sorry.
She's talking about you.
Talking about our suits, because our suits were fly. They were awesome. I love my suit. I still
Yes,
have.
the fly outfits you wore. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So next week, we have two guests, one on Monday and one on Tuesday. I had to finagle on it because I really wanted her in here. So I had to use Tuesday because she's busy on Mondays. So next Monday, we're going to have the baby toddler teacher, and our topic is understanding your toddler. She is awesome. She has a lot of reels on Instagram, and my friend Kimberly was the one who. Um, Jen says, "Daddy, I'm disappointed. I didn't know this. Can't wait to look up your band." Um, so um, Nanny Kim introduced me to the baby toddler teacher, and I started following her. And the more I followed her, I'm like, yes, I love her. I love because I am an infant toddler specialist, and I was like, yes, I need her. I need her. I need her. Look, look who just showed up, and I was just
Yeah.
your ears are burning. They must be burning, Kimberly, because not literally, not even a minute ago, I mentioned your name. Literally, as I was saying, Kimberly, this is the Kimberly that introduced me to the baby toddler teacher. And so she will be here on the 18th at 7 o'clock. And then Kimberly also introduced me to Alexa Ray, who is she runs the Mindful Nanny.
Yes.
And she is going to be here and talk to us about being mindful nannies. So, and that's going to be on Tuesday, the 19th at 7 p.m. So join me here on Monday and Tuesday for Ask the Nanny. And also, if you like that little video that I showed before the broadcast, before we went live, uh, those are all businesses that I affiliate with, that I am associated with. And if you would like for your business, and Danny's was on there too, you came on right after yours went off.
Yeah.
You
No,
came back.
that's the end of it. You
You
edited
saw
it
the
too,
end of
and
it?
it was awesome.
Okay. But these are all businesses that I affiliate with. And if you would like to have your business on our preview, please contact me at Ask the Nanny. You can contact me on AskTheNanny.com. You can contact me on my business page on Facebook, Ask the Nanny. You can contact me on Instagram at ask.the.nanny. So either one of those, contact me. You can even contact me on YouTube at Ask the Nanny. So everything Ask the Nanny. So just look it up and find me. If you would like to advertise your business, um, this is going live on YouTube, and it will be there for the whole world to see.
Wow.
And it's live on Facebook, and it will be here for a long time, as long as Facebook allows it, for the whole world to see. So just so you know, it's not just a one-time deal. You get seen over and over and over again, and it will go in the archives of Ask the Nanny on my YouTube channel. So I'm just saying, uh, if you want to advertise your business, please let me know. Contact me, and we'll get you in that little scroll. So We will see you all next week. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for watching. And you all have a great week with and on purpose. And remember, Danny J. Nanny at nannyabcs.com or nannyabcs.com. You can contact him, or you can find Danny Rosenthal on LinkedIn, which is probably his method of choice since he's over there all the time. So, so look him up. Agencies, look him up. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And we will see you all next week. You all have a great week.